So here we are in Industria, and once again I see that I missed something, which isn't surprising. This was actually a cheating move on the last turn, playing both of these at once. No big deal. I won't do it again, I promise. You can only build one of each type of thing in any given build phase. I'm on the second player option on the twos, with blue having a choice of playing these. So we're going to see people playing things a little bit more often, just to make sure that their hands don't get unbalanced, that they don't have things that they need to play, in addition to, wow, I got to get these things out. So the money will be played a little bit, the money will get paid out a little more than perhaps we've been seeing, because there's no real harm in doing so. Collecting these stocks of cash is useful, perhaps, but mainly the reason that I was not playing was in order to maintain my options. Well, maintaining options isn't really an option, it turns out. Alright, well, I'll continue. So we're at the end of the era, and I want to look at what everybody kind of has done and what they've got. So red positioned themselves and picked up this Stardam, which is a dam. Damn. Okay. And I guess they got themselves some points for that. I'm not sure I actually... Yeah, I must have recorded them. Okay. Moreover, they have a road between them, which will give them more points at the end of the game. They're left holding their bonus. This is what they won at the bank. They couldn't build it. They didn't have any glass available. Glass isn't available in this period, and nobody built that factory in time. They were the first player, so they couldn't build it. Not a big deal. The bank is cool because it lowers the cost of all other items, so that's really great. What about yellow? Well, yellow, damn. Yeah, yellow built this Eisenhut. I guess that's an iron mill or something like it. So look that up. Now here's what's bad, an Eisenhut iron foundry. Okay, here's what's bad about these names. In the rules, the names are in English, and that's fine for things like glass, maybe Eisen, whatever, but if you're not really familiar with them, you kind of look at what's available each era over here, and it's not that clear. But the key appears to be, if a factory produces it in the previous era, it's available starting in the next era from the bank. Which means, even if nobody ever builds this, that bank can come out from it. Now over here, he's holding on to some raw materials that he didn't use this time, and that he doesn't really need. The Eisen, he produces, so he'll never need that. The glass, well, that could be useful. This thing, he doesn't want to pay for that yet. He wants to see what happens. It was absolutely vital for red to get this out because he would not get to keep it otherwise. Green, however, got shafted. Green bought themselves too many factories, didn't have the cash to build either of them, doesn't have the materials to build either of them. Well, they have the materials for the glass shoot, but they don't have them for the Zesh. So they're out 4 points that they would have gotten otherwise. That's a real shame. Over to blue. Blue built the Dampf machine, steam machine, and they also got this Weber. I have no idea what that is. Weaving mill. They got that kind of cheap, and they're holding one of these special bonuses, one that combines with their Topferei, which apparently makes ceramics. I have no idea what a Topferei is. It's pottery. Okay, but we see that blue has set themselves up so that they have a road connected line. It doesn't. I don't think that the Topferei is on the same road here as connects the Tongrub and the Zemmenfruck. Excuse my German. Excuse my attempts to pronounce German. I don't have any German, as is quite obvious. Okay, so we move to a new era, and we didn't see this last time, but this is going to go forward. everybody's going to get a buck this time. And then we go to the next deck, and this is passing. In one sense, one value to whatever I'm doing here, what little value there is to what I'm doing, is you get to at least see a game played really, really poorly, and maybe overcome some of the mistakes that I am making. Right? All right, onward. So here we are at the end of the third era, and things probably didn't go that well for a lot of people. Their own doing, maybe. Let's take a look. Blue has not gained anything down here. You'll see there's 3 big blanks because of the interrelationship between cement, steel, and this crafts work, which needs both and produces strom. Sounds electricity, yeah. Okay. Blue is left holding a steel that they had nothing to do with. They ended up getting it as a free pick, basically. Red, oh, poor red. Red actually grew into 2 things. They grew into the oil field, and they grew into the bourse, the stock exchange. This is cool because the bourse connects up to their road, and the oil field has 2 roads which they could use later. What they didn't get to do, and this hurt a lot, is they didn't get to play their automobile because there is no steel, and they didn't have one in their hand. They have to throw that away. Boom, into the box. That was a lot of points, and I think they paid a couple for it. What were they holding in their hand? They were holding the steel mill, which, if they had been able to build, would have been fine, but they couldn't get Ziegel Cement. Ziegel? I don't know. That's up here. They could have bought that, but there was no cement. Speaking of which, here's somebody who had the cement, and a whole handful of commodities that are useless, a couple of bonus cards, and he has the Craftworks. No steel. And you know, I mean, obviously players would play better than I tend to. But I honestly do play this poorly with this kind of game in multiple players. So then green, who also did not really expand, and he didn't build his Zesh up here. He's got no reason to use any of his cards. He was holding a cement that he didn't particularly need. Blue is running away with points, though. It looked like red was doing very, very well, but blue's adding the railway was a big one. And that's a linked combination, so that's going to be even more points for him later. I don't know if blue gets to pick next. Because I lose track. When these little markers, they don't do it for me. I mean, obviously, this is something where if a bunch of people were sitting around, it would work fine. Well, there's one way to find out. Count from the back. Blue started things. We got 3, that's the first round. 1, 2, 3, second round. 1, 2, 3, third round. This is going to move over here, I think. Let me think again. 1, 2, 3, start. 1, 2, 3, start. 1, 2. Oh, God, I have no clue. I'm going to say it's red's turn to bid to control things next. I may have lost track there. These games are hard to play solo. Alright, on to the next turn. And the end of another cycle around, and this time I am going to move this and put the dice on top. I'm pretty sure I had it right last time, but I can't be certain. Okay, so let's look at what happened and where we are. First of all, well, we'll start with green, since they had the token last. So they ended up expanding into Fabwerk and Kimmelwerk, which got them some points here. They also did not get here. They ended up here earlier. They've got in their hands some resources and a little anchor that they want to buy, but with one token they wanted to hold off on that. Over to blue. Blue, unfortunately, had an extra technology. Now, they got stuck with that in the bidding. They put something up and nobody wanted it. They managed to get a technology off on their last card, and they could have gotten both off. Well, no, they couldn't, because computers weren't available. So they got stuck with something that they had hoped somebody else would buy. Nobody else was willing to pony up, mainly because yellow didn't have the money to produce. Yeah, they did. Oh, they wouldn't have had the money had they spent $1 for it. Okay, over to red. Red did not really build anything except up on this earlier layer, which means they didn't grow in their value. Blue is way ahead. And in their hand, they got a couple of rails. They might want to play one of them, but they see no value in it right now. So again, they held off. And over to yellow. Yellow expanded into a couple of areas. Because they played computer so late in the turn, blue made the last auction. So, well, green had the token, so blue wasn't going to get a chance to use the computer, say, for this before yellow went. Not that that really mattered, because blue already had one that they wanted to play. They're equally valuable, except that this one leads down to the nanotechnology. Yellow still has a bunch of resources in their hand, some of which are useless. I mean, glass, that's a free buck for them because they don't have that. Computers, though, they have computer production now. They're the guy with it. Of course, that means nobody else gets a free one, so they do get a buck out of it somewhere, perhaps. And Eisen, the iron, they produce that. So likewise, someone has to pay them who could have had that card, but as it stands, no one has that card. We're going to be handing out $1 each to everyone, and then starting with blue's turn. Okay, well, we're working our way through the last turn, and I'm not going to go into any real detail here. We didn't see a lot bought. Yellow and red bought a technology, blue bought themselves the robot works through the bidding. But one thing that I want to point out that was kind of annoying. I'm used to things going left to right, right? Of course, in a Euro game, no, we gotta follow a little track. So blue was in the wrong place. I've rectified that situation, assuming that I got the points counted right and all that, right? Okay, I'll finish up and come back. Okay, so all the cards were played at the end. Some people are sitting on quite a bit. So, for example, he's got an extra rail. We knew he had 2. Yellow has a handful of commodities he couldn't use. We already discussed those. And green also has a handful of commodities he couldn't use. It's a shame when you can't use something. Green is way in behind, but here's what I want to do. I want to score the points now for the final round. How do we do that? Well, we've already scored all the points from the actual cards that were supposed to come, as well as from these, assuming I didn't miss any, of course, which is a big assumption. But now we want to look at what else produces points. Well, first thing is, we got these. So let's look, well, let's start with green because he's so far behind that we want to see if he can catch up. Does he have any ports? Yeah, he has 1, and those are worth 2 per card that they count on. So green gets 2 because he only has 1 port on his card. It doesn't matter how many of these he has. Extras are just a waste. And then we got to look to see if he has any roads. And he has 1 road connecting, which gets him a big 3 points. Alright, so he's now tied for last, if that lasts. Okay, let's go to yellow and see what yellow has. Alright, yellow has a lot of these. Let's see what we get. This one's worth 2. We'll multiply in a moment. 3. I don't know why he bought this. Wanted to waste it. Oh, he's got it. 4. Okay, so he's got 4 bonus cards, and bonus cards are worth 2 each, so that's 8 points. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, he's tied for first already. And now, does he have any connections? He has 1, which is worth 3 more points. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, let's go on to red. Red. Red's got a port. That's 1, 2, 3. So he's got 3 connections. That's worth 6 points. Aha, now he's tied for first. Any roads? Yeah, he's got 1 here for 3. 4, 5, 6. And that looks like it's it. So 6 more points. And now last but not least, blue, who doesn't have much built up here. He's got 2 points for these. And then connections, 3, 4, 5, 6 from 2 connections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it ended up as a close game between red and blue. There's nothing I can say about strategy here because there really was none in my play of the game, and that's probably pretty obvious to everyone. It was more just a way to get a feel for what this game is about, and if I do play it again, what am I going to look for? It's not something that I would play solitaire again. I'll come back with a review, though, to talk about it a little bit.